This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by Gems Art Studio. Gems Art Studio is an online store that allows access to prints that you can use for most anything, obviously as just a picture, or as a wallpaper, or as a bookmark, or anything you can think of. You can find Gems Art Studio at etsy.com/shop/Gems Art Studio. This podcast is also brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Okay, now we will move on. We got 2 episodes of Loki to go over. And jeez. Okay, so that last episode, Lamentus, where they're just on that planet running around, it was fine. It was a little dull. It felt like a filler episode. It was, the Lokis getting to know each other. And, I don't know. We will throw up this image. I didn't put in a default image for Loki. So, boom. We'll use this guy. Anyways, it's just the 2 Lokis getting to know each other. And I wish there was more to that. There's not a huge story to that one. Other than they're just running around in this planet that's falling apart. And one thing that people were posting about was that, hey, did you think there was chemistry between the 2 Lokis? And I just thought, no. I didn't think there was any chemistry between them. I thought they're getting to know each other. They're getting familiar with each other. But as far as like chemistry, usually I think of romantic chemistry. Did I see anything in the Lamentus episode? No. But then we get to the beginning of the next one. Nexus event? I think it's called something like that. Anyways, all of a sudden, it's implied that, yes, they have romantic chemistry with each other, so I guess I was wrong, even though I didn't read that all in the Lamentus episode. Whatever. And the idea of the 2 variants being, having a thing for each other causes huge Nexus spikes, so the TVA has to pop up and grab them and be like, what the fuck? So, anyways, we have Loki is with Mobius, and Mobius is, talk to him, and Loki's explaining how everybody in the TVA is actually a variant. The TVA is manipulating this whole situation. And I didn't bring up an image, but the audience gets a clip of Renslayer talking to the Timekeepers at the beginning of this episode. And we just get their silhouettes, but at that they look like watchers. And there's even some lines where it talks about how the Timekeepers are watching them. So I thought, are these going to be watchers? That'd be weird, watchers getting involved. We see later it's not. They look very comic booky, though. There probably is a history. I didn't get a chance to look up all of it, though. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. So, Loki, our main Loki, is trying to talk to Mobius. Mobius is telling him, that's bullshit. I don't believe it. But we actually follow Mobius separately and see that he is kind of investigating it because it is piquing his interest. And what he finds out is that Renslayer says she killed C-20 because she was corrupted by the female Loki variant. I did bring up that. So Renslayer saying she killed her because she was exposed. Not exposed, but she was corrupted and she just couldn't be dealt with anymore. So she got rid of her. So Mobius starts investigating and finds out that no, she didn't go insane or anything. She was just saying she's a variant. We're all variants. The TVA is keeping stuff from us. So Mobius discovers this by switching his tempad with Renslayer's. While this is going on, we also see Sylvie talking to C-25, who's in our one of the TVA people. And it's a very similar thing where Sylvie and C-15 are, she's revealing to C-15 that she's just a variant. She's just another person, and TVA is lying to you. And Renslayer, what eventually happens is Loki, Mobius pretty much figures out, we are variants. So he goes and tells Loki, hey, let's figure this out. But of course, Renslayer figures out the tempads are switched. So while Mobius is trying to get them out, Renslayer pops in and she apparently kills, or prunes as they like to call it, Mobius, which was kind of shocking. I was like, wow, that's it for him? I assumed there'd be more. In fact, when I watch this, I assume there's probably going to be more to him, that this isn't the end of his story, but maybe it is. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, Loki does eventually break out. He meets up with... What is it? No. They capture Loki. They take him to the Timekeepers, and then we see much clearer that they are not Watchers. They're very comic booky characters. God, I wanted to look up what they were before I did this. My bad, I didn't. But Loki is brought to them, as well as Sylvie. And they confront the Timekeepers. And C-15 then pops in, and they're able to throw the TVA for a loop. They overpower the TVA, the three of them. And then they go to confront the Timekeepers, at which point Sylvie just throws, I don't remember what it was, but throws something at the Timekeeper and decapitates one of them, and we just see sparks flying, and they're cyborgs. Realize if these are the Timekeepers, they aren't really the Timekeepers, because these are just androids. These are nothing. So that brings us to the very end of the episode, when Renslayer kind of gets up, because she was rendered unconscious. She gets up, and then she... What the heck was that? She goes through, and she prunes Loki. Which is... At that point, that's when you realize Mobius must still be alive, because they aren't going to kill that Loki when we got at least 2 episodes left. That's insane. So that brings us to the mid-credit scene, which is also the beginning of the next episode, where he wakes up and he just sees these other Lokis standing there. And that is interesting. And that's the end of that episode. We get 4 Lokis. We get this guy with the hammer. We get classic Loki by, what's his name? Oh, I know that guy's name. Who is classic Loki? Shit. He's from LA Story. He's been around. Why is Michael Sheen the only name? Grant. Richard Grant. God, I don't know why it took me so long. This young kid. And then Alligator Loki. He sees them standing there. And what we find out is that they are actually at the end of the universe. When you get pruned, it's not instant death. When you get pruned, you get teleported to the end of the universe. And what happens then is that a smoke monster comes by and kills you at that moment. Which, I'm not going to lie, it's not that big a deal in this episode, but smoke monsters feel so lazy to me. It's probably just after Fantastic Four 2 and the reveal of Galactus. I am so done with smoke monsters. I guess it's been a while since we've really seen one, and it's obviously not the main antagonist of the series, so I can let it go. But yeah, smoke monster. You get pruned, you get sent to the end of the universe, and a smoke monster eats you. That's what the whole thing is at this point. And he teams up with this group of Lokis, and then we get even more Lokis pop up. And what we see, what's explained is that the reason why there's a whole bunch of Lokis here is that Lokis are survivors. They keep on eluding this smoke monster, and they make these teams, but then they just backstab the shit out of each other. And we see, like, our main Loki's watching this, and you realize he's kind of learning, wow, this is where my life went wrong. Because these guys, like, they can't trust each other. They just backstab each other all the time. So Loki and a couple of the original Lokis we saw, I want to say it's Richard E. Grant, the kid, and Alligator Loki, kind of break free while all the other Lokis backstab the crap out of each other. They meet up with Sylvie and Mobius. By the way, I skipped the whole thing. So Sylvie and Renslayer actually make a deal to investigate what's going on. And Renslayer pretty much instantly betrays her. And Sylvie kind of eludes capture and prunes herself. and she gets attacked by the smoke monster, and Mobius, God, why am I tripping on that now? Mobius comes in a car and saves her. So, let's go. We'll just leave it on that one. Wow, Richard E. Grant right there. I'm brain farting. It's right in my notes. So, eventually they all get caught up. The Sylvie, Lokis, the four Lokis. Yeah, with Alligator Loki, it's 4 Lokis, and Mobius all get caught up. They come up with a plan. Mobius, Sylvie, when she left, took a temp pad with her, and so Mobius takes the temp pad, goes to TVA with the attempt to try to overthrow it, while Sylvie and Loki are going to enchant the smoke monster to try to get to the timekeepers, if there are actually timekeepers, and that's where the episode ends. I enjoy these episodes quite a bit more than episode 3. I think the last one especially. I feel like episode 5 and 3 are in common in a lot of ways because they feel kind of fillery, but I feel like where episode 3 just kind of felt like you knew more or less where it was going the whole time. Episode 5 was a bit more wild and crazy, and the character does learn something about himself, more substantial. And I enjoyed 5 quite a bit more than 3, even though at the end of the day they are kind of filling the same purpose in the series. Still, like, I have to say, this is a good series. Is it the best of the Disney Plus series? I have to see where it ends up. I compared a lot to, I would say WandaVision is probably my favorite at this point. WandaVision has a rough beginning, which this one doesn't have. This one launches you right into it and then a little bit slower in the middle. Still, I'm really enjoying the series overall. It's a good one. These were a couple of good episodes. I dug it. Now we're going to go to Superman and Lois. And one thing I will say before I 100%, this is what I'm saying, kind of goes for Superman, Lois, and Loki. Some of the screening in these series is really bad. It's clearly like a fake set, and they're just superimposing it. I want to say, like, the screening's worse in Superman and Lois than it is in Loki overall. That being said, it's also very clear that Loki has a much bigger budget. So in a lot of ways, even though it's better in Loki, I blame Loki a bit more for this because it has a bigger budget. There's really no excuse for it in Loki. Superman and Lois is a CW show. There's kind of an excuse there. I want to go ahead and add some audio credits at the end here. The theme music you're hearing at the beginning and end of this podcast was written and performed by George Johnson, a very good friend of mine. And my current Patreons are Fel Martins, David Lara, and Lindsay Pankhurst. If you'd like to become a patron, go ahead and follow the link down below. Anything you can provide would be incredibly helpful to this channel. We're barely limping by right now. I'd love to make this my full-time job. I'm miles away from that right now. So any help you could provide, just $1 a month would be amazing. You know you want to. All your friends are doing it.